What's going on, everybody? It's Chris from Profoto, and today we are going to be talking about Rembrandt light. We are going to be taking some photos. I'm going to show you how we made the image that you saw on the card. We're going to talk about the rules to Rembrandt light and the things that you're looking for when you're trying to create an image using Rembrandt light. Like I said, we're going to do some photography stuff. We have the set up so you can see all that kind of stuff. I'm going to bring Kate in here in just a couple of seconds, and we are going to talk about kind of the things you need to pay attention to when you're trying to light for, or when you're trying to use the lighting style Rembrandt light. So that's cool. I'm just gonna double check really fast that we are connected on some stuff here. Let's see. Cool, I see Gabju, hello, what's happening, man? Let's see, let me fire up capture one, that way we're ready to rock and roll there. It's a pretty easy lighting technique. It's something really, really nice. It's got a lot of contrast to it. So it comes with a fair bit of drama. If you want it to, you could ease that contrast up with a second light, depending on what your taste is. But for the most part, it can be done with one. It can be done with one light and a reflector. You can do it with multiple lights like we're gonna do today. We're gonna be using 3 lights for this shot, and I'll explain every single light that I'm using and why I'm using it when we're doing the shot. But pretty simple rules. You wanna try to get a triangle on the cheek of the subject, on the opposite, on the cheek on the opposite side that the light's coming from, right here. And I'll show you with Kate here in just a second, but you generally don't want that triangle to go past the nose, and you don't want it to be wider than the eye. That's kind of the traditional Rembrandt painting style. The actual lighting technique is called chiaroscuro. It just stands for light and dark. In Italian, it translates out as light and dark. So one of the things too to remember for that chiaroscuro lighting is when you hear the word light and dark, you're like, oh, I can just kind of put the light anywhere, and then as long as the background is dark and my subject is lit, it's the same thing, and it's not. So you want the light and the dark, so the light and the shadows, to be a part of how you've actually lit the subject, not necessarily how you've lit the scene. So rules are meant to be broken. These are just kind of like the guidelines for where you start whenever you're doing something like this. Once again, the no longer than the nose, no wider than the cheek, that's the traditional Rembrandt light style. Do whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy. It's always good to have the baselines for a place to start, and then you can just expand and make things your style from there. So really, really cool stuff. So let's see, let me get my camera turned on. Oh, you know what? I think I could be wrong. I do, that might be why my camera's not talking. Maybe it'll start talking now. My camera, oh, there we go. I had a feeling that maybe I killed the battery on my Fuji, and I did. Luckily, it's gonna charge while we're plugged in. If not, I'll just grab another battery. I'm gonna throw, I think this one's dead. I'm gonna throw this one on the charge just in the meantime. So if I need to grab it quickly, like if it's just not happy with me, I can just grab that really quick. Thought I had a fresh bat. Apparently I do not. So cool, I'm gonna bring Caitlin in here. We're not gonna set up just yet for the shot, Caitlin. I'm just gonna kind of show them. Huh? Yeah, you're gonna want this on the tight shot. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna dim the front light down a little bit too. We have the continuous light on the B10, which is nice. So we'll light with the continuous light so you can see it. So just stand, don't sit down yet. Just stand forward so I can kind of show the light placement. So let's dim this down a little bit. Cool. There's still quite a bit of overhead light coming in. Let's see if I can overthrow that with this bad boy. Cool. So, yep. So generally what you want to do is, apologize, Kate. So generally you want the light to be high. You want to get it above the eye line, okay? And then what's going to happen as you start to take the light and you start to turn it off to the side, you're going to start to see this triangle form. And it's going to be because there's going to be a shadow made from the nose and then the cheekbone. So as you start to bring that light around, there's the triangle. And then if you want to get that triangle, like I said, no longer than the nose, but also no wider than the eye, you can bring it around a little bit more and then raise the light up some more. And then once again, you kind of just play around with it and get the shadow right where you want it. But then there's your triangle right there. I'm looking at the thing to make sure you see it. I got a lot of extra light. Let me just turn it down. Let me just turn down the overheads really quick. We have a ton of windows in here too, which I've been like dying to buy like some sort of blind coverage or some sort of blackout curtain. So let's show you this again. Yeah, now you can see it a little bit better. So let's just put the light straight on towards Kate. I apologize, super bright. But as you start to kick it off to the side, you can see that triangle starts to form right there. And then what you want to do is we can just raise it up a little bit just to kind of play with the length of that shadow. So you can see right there, the higher you raise the light, the more it's going to exaggerate that nose shadow down a little bit more and give you that triangle. The one place, and we're going to talk about this too, some more whenever I bring in, so you can kind of see. If you see right here, nice little triangle. Not really wider than the eye, not longer than the nose, which is really nice. Really pretty light, can have a lot of drama to it. Wonderful stuff. Mm-hmm. So
what are you using?
So lighting wise for this, for what we're gonna be using, and like I said, we'll dive into what we're doing too here in a second as we start to do the photographing portion. But we're lighting that with a B10 and a zoom reflector. So let's pull this back up. Let me see if y'all have any questions, and then I'll show you kind of the technique we use to build this. So lighting wise, what we're using today.
Go Cardinals.
Don't go Cardinals ever.
Yeah,
of course. The Cardinals should never go anywhere except for to last place. But anyway, that being said, we're gonna be using 3 lights. So our main light is going to be this zoom reflector right here, or this B10 with a zoom reflector on it, right there. I have it zoomed all the way out so the beam spread's pretty wide. I want a little more coverage. So we have it pushed all the way in so it's the light spreads a little bit more. I have a second light, which is a B10 Plus with the new OCF 1x4 strip box. And then I've also got it strip masked, so you can see that the mask is on here. So we have a even thinner light to kind of highlight Kate, to kind of give her a kicker or a rim light. And then because I know we took the photo before, I'm gonna have the light relatively high. It's gonna fall out of the area of Kate's eye line, and I'm gonna wanna pop a little bit of a catch light in there. And that's what I'm gonna be using this A10 for. There's nothing on it. It won't be anything other than zoomed a little wide and just a little splash of highlight on the eyes. It will do a little bit of a job of opening up the shadows a touch, but it'll look really nice, and we'll build this all together. I'm gonna come over here and check out some comments, and then we're gonna start photographing. Let's see, what do we got here? So just for anyone who's wondering, camera-wise and whatnot, I'm shooting with a Fuji X-T3. It's my camera of choice. Doesn't really matter. Use the camera that you like. Triggers Profoto Connect. The reason I'm going Connect is because all of the lights that I'm using are Bluetooth enabled. So if I need to make any changes, I can pop open my Profoto app and I can control it right from there and see everything. So we're going Connect on the camera, and then all my stuff is controlled via Bluetooth. Camera settings are ISO 160, f/250th of a second, f8. I want that because I want to try to control especially some of this extraneous light that's going to come in from outside, and my video lights. It'll bring it down, it'll make it a little bit darker. And whenever we flip over to Capture One, you'll also notice the setting that shows that I am out of battery on my camera. So that's, hey everybody, Harland in the house. Holland in the house, what's happening? San Diego, love it down there. What's up, Anthony? I see you, my man. 53 degrees. Yeah, from 53 degrees north. That's
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's longitude, latitudinal.
I see.
Yeah. I think you need to work on your topography. Yeah. Topography? Yeah, I don't think that's correct. Navigational skills? I don't know. So I'm gonna back the V flat up. So we're shooting into a black V flat just because, one, I don't have a huge roll of black seamless. It's just like a little 4-foot wide thing, and I want a little more coverage. Also, I want black. I'm gonna back it up a little bit, and I'm actually gonna bring Kate a little further forward than when we shot the main shot for the card. That's just because I want to. There was something I noticed in the card shot that I didn't love, and I want to be able to bring that rim light back around a little bit more. It's also the reason that I'm going with the strip mask, to try to vary the light coming out this way. I want the length, but I don't need the width. So let's set that up right here. essentially what happened in the card shot, and if you want to just, yeah, just throw the card shot up so people can see it. So I have a little bit more of there's a highlight on the cheek from the strip box kind of creeping around a little bit, and I don't like that much. I could Photoshop it out, but I would rather just do it with light. So that way you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. So we're just gonna bring everything forward a little bit, and then be good to go. So got some apple boxes rocking. I believe,
I don't remember how we placed them.
I believe they were like this, so you have a little bit more height here, and then I think your foot was on that jammer.
Yeah, that looks great.
So, sweet. We've got that set up. Camera lens wise, I'm gonna start with a 56 millimeter. So in my Fuji world, that is a 85 millimeter. So we're gonna start there. If I need a little more width, then I'll get my 50 millimeter. So it'll be fine. Pose wise, I'm gonna try to keep it kind of triangular. You saw from the picture earlier that it was more of a triangle setup. So that's kind of the pose we're going with there. So let's do it. Let's take a shot. And what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna take a TTL shot just to get started. Let's flip this camera vertical. So I'm gonna take a TTL shot to get started, just to kind of give me a baseline. I'm gonna flip this thing around so I can go vertical and get my, there we go. Perfect. TTL shot there, cool. So here we go, let's get focused there. So that looks nice. I'm gonna get my crop right. Just hang with me for a second, party peeps, while we get this crop right. So kick that, the front foot, yeah, don't kick it out that far, just to the edge of the apple box, just so, here, let's do this. Just so the arm line, and just so people know what I'm talking about when I'm taking the shot. So push your foot right here. So when her elbow goes down, you can come back a little bit and then go up on the tiptoe. So when her elbow goes down, I want this angle just to be pretty even. So that's,
oh, it was this elbow, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, yeah, that looks way better. That looks way better. So it just keeps that, that elbow way more even. So let's kick off. I'm gonna keep the A10 turned off because that's gonna be kind of a thing that I just splash in later. But what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna use the continuous light for a second here on this. Oh, here's another good thing. I should actually turn air on so it actually triggers whenever I wanna trigger it. So we're on channel 1 group A here. If anyone's nearby my house, please don't use an air remote. Now that you know where I'm shooting this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this light, and I'm gonna start to, so she's gonna kind of be looking like right here. So I'm just gonna take the continuous light and get that triangle right where I want it. I'm gonna feather it away also, right, like this. That way I'm not getting a lot of light hitting the background. So it's shooting past her, we're feathering her, we're lighting her with the edge of the reflector. I see the triangle underneath her eye, so we're gonna start there. The A10 is off. Let's double check that our B10 is on. We are, and we're on channel 1 group B. Once again, hopefully none of you are using air remotes near my home. Let's do this. So we're gonna take a TTL shot. We may be vastly off because there's a lot of black in this scene. And if you know anything about TTL, or if you don't know anything about TTL, all TTL is trying to do is make the scene 18% gray. And so if it sees a whole bunch of black, it's probably gonna, there's a good chance it's gonna blow it out. I'm gonna use spot meter, but we'll see what happens. Here we go. It's pretty close, exposure wise. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. Let's pull up this. Yeah, let's pull up capture 1 so they can see that. I'm gonna pull up my Profoto. So what's dope is, so we just came out with, we just broke apart the Profoto control portion, the remote control portion app from the camera. So the camera app is really, really cool. We just dropped that. It's got a lot better controls, way easier to use. Really nice raw really nice raw photo in there. But I'm gonna use the Profoto control app because that's what I need to control. So just gotta wait for this thing to catch all my B10s. So, but let's see. That last shot, we were definitely a little over on the main. So let's kick, here we go. Let's kick this down a little bit while my Bluetooth is connecting. So let's go to 5 and see where we were. Take that trigger to, and did my rim light. My rim light's actually kind of nice. I just think we're overexposed on the front. So let's see where we're at. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. There we go, starting to get a little bit more of that painterly mood that I like. A little underexposed. It's really nice though. I'll probably raise the light up a little higher because the trunk, you all right?
See, I'm just trying to remember how we did this shot last week, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember.
It just sounds like you're falling off of apple boxes and
okay.
ensuring your apple box safety. So you can see that we don't have much of a catch light in the eye, and that's where we're gonna start bringing in that A10 here in just a second, and I'll show you that in a second. But what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna raise this up a little bit. So we'll go up a touch more, boom, right here. Give me a little more bangage in the front with the hairs. There we go, perfect. So we take another shot. I think I'm gonna come up a little bit on the juice. Let's see. Oh, when we were doing the live the other day with Weekend Creative, someone was asking, why don't you use the trigger to change the power of your flashes? And I do the same thing too. I was telling them all the time too, sometimes it's just muscle memory to reach up and grab the dial. That was me. I have my remote open, but I still reached up and grabbed my dial. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. That looks lovely. I might have overpowered that a little bit more than I wanted, but I do like, I need you to bring your nose back over here a little bit, maybe like right here. A little bit more this way. There we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. There's the triangle. So kind of remember that you're gonna live looking here.
Okay, gotcha.
Cool. So we have the triangle there. So now what I want to do is I'm going to bring that A10 in, and it's literally just going to be there just to open those shadows up a little bit, but give me a catch light to the eyes. So this is going to be aimed more directly at her. I'm going to try to put it right here so I don't get any, I don't have any issues with the light stand for, there we go. Let's go right there. Let's power this bad boy up. And this is actually set this to group C, just so I can keep them all separated. And we're going to definitely not shoot this at a power level of 9. I'm honestly thinking that since we're at 5.5 on the B10, we might want to be in like the 3 range on this. And we're gonna shoot zoomed, like kind of half zoomed. So let's kind of see where we are, and we'll futz with it a little bit more. 3, 2, 1. Cool. So let's check it on capture 1 and see where we're at. So you can see now we're starting to get that catch light in the eye, which is nice. Honestly, I probably pump it up a little bit more. The thing you have to be aware of is that once there's a chance that you can start getting this double shadow right here on the nose. And this is where you're gonna kind of just goof around with it a little bit and see. Let me turn this on, and you can turn on the modeling lamp here. So look back at the spot really fast. So you can turn on both modeling lamps, and you can kind of just play around with this a little bit. I'm gonna come around. So if I come around here a little bit more, I can probably mitigate that shadow. So we'll shoot that forward, and that'll look nice. So let's just see what happens. And this is the part where you can kind of play. This is, honestly, the A10 is a personal preference thing. You don't have to have it, or you don't have to have anything to splash the light back in. As a matter of fact, I could bring the B10 down a little bit more and get some of that catch light in the eye, but it doesn't give me quite the shadow that I want. So this is kind of a good option for me there. You could use a reflector if you wanted to. It's totally up to you. So right here, Kate. So 3, 2, 1. Let's see where we are now. That looks nice. So you can see I have that catch light in the eye from the A10. The new placement of the A10, I still have a double shadow, but it's hiding kind of right here around the nostril area. I could come around a little bit more. Let's just do that really fast just to see. So right there, Kate. I know I'm standing in the shot. I'll get out of the shot here in just a second. So let's go like here. Perfect. So let's see what happens there. I'm gonna try to keep the light off the background the best I can. Maybe what we can do is come forward a little bit more, make sure it's not in the shot. We're good there. So since I came forward a whole bunch, I think I'm going to power down all the way. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And that looks nice. So I have that catch light in the eye. really, really great. It looks like I also have maybe a touch of, do I have something else firing? I'm just double checking. So I think I'm getting a kind of a double catch light here, but it looks nice. So we were able to get rid of that double shadow for the most part just by changing around that light placement, but we have a nice triangle on the cheek. Honestly, I could probably look right back over there again, Kate. I'm gonna come up a little higher on this thing. So right back, I just need you to point your nose, right, there we go. So I'm gonna actually bring this around a little bit more. That's probably more the speed that I'm looking for. So let's pop this off and then we can talk about it. 3, 2, 1. Maybe a little bit, I probably came around a little bit too much. Let's come here. Super compelling stuff, but it's really pretty light. Once again, very dramatic, really natural feeling, but like I said, a little bit of a kick from that A10 just giving me that catch light in the eye, which is nice. But really pretty light. So thanks, Kate.
Welcome.
And if y'all have any other questions, we can shoot something else as well. But it's a really simple light setup. So let me get over here to capture one. So if you look right here, like what we were talking about, let me zoom in a touch. You have that small triangle, so it's not super wide. It's definitely not longer than the nose. Maybe kicks out a little bit wider than the eye a touch. I could probably bring that back some. But once again, those are the baseline rules, and from there you can kind of expand and just make it your own. You don't have to do things verbatim. That's the beautiful thing about art. It's the beautiful thing about your vision as a photographer, is you can take, once again, the rules and then just morph them to do what you want them to do. And that's what we did here. So we have this nice triangle in the eyes. There's a lot of shadow and a lot of light in the photo, which is that chiaroscuro style. I'm totally butchering the name, I'm sure, but I'm gonna roll with it. But that's that style. Once again, there's the light present on the subject. There's also shadow present on the subject. I personally wanted a little more, a little less contrast on stuff. So the A10 helps me out there a lot too, because it starts to open these shadows up a little bit. And then my 1x4 strip box is just giving me a nice little highlight. I could probably pump the power up a little bit more on it. And that way the Kate's top doesn't start to disappear into the V flat, but I got the distance that I needed from the V flat to Kate. That way I don't have that same light creeping around on the cheek that I had in that card shot. So I was able to achieve that with the strip masks and also with just a little bit more light placement. I would be curious, I might actually have you jump back up here for one more shot. I'm gonna power up the strip box just so we can kind of see, maybe with a little more output, get a touch more. Like I said, we have a decent amount of separation here, especially where there's skin in the shot, but right here maybe we would want a little bit more. And honestly, the crop for me is probably closer to here, but it's neither here nor there. Perfect, so let me see if y'all have any questions before I have Kate jump back in here and we try with a little bit more on the strip mask. What's up, everybody? Amsterdam in the house, what's up? North Carolina in the house, nice. Greeting from vacation on the beach, take me with you, Alan. Singapore, what's up? Argentina, what's happening? Is that the strip mask? This is a strip masks. So this is the, it's a little bit, it's not an exact 1x4 strip mask because you have a little bit up here and down below where you would normally have the diffusion panel. But yeah, so it's essentially taking the one out of it. This is probably 3, maybe 4 inches wide. So once again, just what we were talking about earlier is on the card shot. There's just a little bit, and I think Caitlin's gonna throw the card shot up there for just a second. So if you just look at the nose and the cheek on the card shot, and there's just like a little creep of a highlight in there from the strip box beforehand. So we're just gonna try to eliminate that with light placement and with the strip mask. Cool, so we can go back. Sweet, let me close this out. What's up? Double North Carolina, what's up? Right down the street from me. I'm down here in ATL, if you can't tell by the hat. I'm in Atlanta. JDP would love for you to also show Rembrandt portrait lighting, but on location sometime, get it blended with it. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually working on a rig to get my Facebook Live stuff outside. So we're gonna be doing a lot more on location stuff. Right now I'm just compiling the things that I need to make sure that I can power it and that we can broadcast. So that's what we're working on right now. What's up, what's up, what's up? What about using the dome diffuser on the A10 to soften the shadow? The dome diffuser is not really going to soften the shadow. So the only way to soften the shadow is to get a bigger light modifier. I could, in theory, bring an umbrella into it, but all a dome diffusion does is makes the light a little more even edge to edge. Diffusion does just that. It just makes light even. It doesn't make it necessarily softer or harder. That's going to be an inherent quality of the size of the modifier in relationship to the subject. So like I could in theory, and let's just do it because it'll be fun and we're here and we're talking. Triangles are key. I see what you did there, Joshua. That was nice. That was really nice. Oh, you were just going to ask about the reflector. Yeah, exactly. So cool. So what we'll do is let me bring in my 3-foot OCF Octa, and I'll put that on, because I already want to take another shot where we try to bring up the kicker a little bit more, just to give us a touch more separation, but we'll diffuse out that shadow a little bit more with a larger light source. So we'll do that. And luckily I already kind of had my A10 sitting on the OCF adapter, so we can just throw this handy dandy 3-foot Octabox on. So I apologize. The 3-foot Octa is definitely going to block. You know what? Let's do this. I'm gonna open up my main shot right here, super wide.
Okay.
Because the OCF adapter is 100% going to block the wide shot. So we'll go wide right there. And Kate, you'll just have to go back over there and refocus in just a minute.
That's fine.
So we've got the 3-foot Octa on here. I'm probably losing, we're at 2, let's take this up to 4 just because there's definitely some light loss there. And we'll make up for that some other way. I just want to make sure the 3-foot's not in the shot. Cool.
I'm in.
What happened?
No, we're good, we're good.
Oh, cool. Let me knock the chat down too, so that's not messing with anybody.
Yeah.
Sweet. Cool. So we'll get Kate back up in here.
So,
Oh, and then I was going to power up the kicker a little bit more.
That's okay.
I'll duck. Oh, or the softbox is in the way. I mean,
I think it's gonna be your noggin.
Oh, I'll duck. I'll get the heck out of it. I'll duck down.
Okay.
So we're going to power up the strip box by a stop and a half. Honestly, I'm probably going over with that, but the cool thing is we can just play with it. I'm going to actually open up my app control and I can just change it from right there. So.
I have to do a single shot at a time because it's not letting me do a key on.
Is it mad about the first one?
Frustrated with me. Oh, I fixed it. We're good. Never mind. We're good.
Cool. So, and then we'll flip it around so the capture one's big whenever we go back in there and look at it. So I'm gonna duck down here so my noggin's not in the way, because truth be told, I have a large noggin. There are people who said that my head might be a little too big. No, not for any of the good reasons. No, not for any of the good reasons. So give me a bunch of the bangs up for me. Right on. Cool. Sweet. I think I'm gonna raise the camera up just a skosh too. Just kind of, there we go. Nice little triangle.
Kind of looking the same.
Yep, I did not mean to do that. That was an inadvertent fire. I apologize. Yeah, just kind of look right towards that area. So 3, 2, 1. Nice. So let me just come over here and see what we're looking like strip box and stuff wise. I definitely going up the stop and a half on the strip box looks great. Honestly, I'm gonna give the softbox. Hey Kate, I'm gonna take another shot. The softbox, I'm gonna pump up some more just because it's sucking up a lot of light, and I'm losing a lot of what the softbox is there for. So let's go. We're gonna go up 3 stops just for fun. So I'm gonna take it to 7. And also let's go in here and make sure I'm zoomed. That shouldn't really matter all that much. I'm zoomed out pretty good. So let's just see where we are. So 3, 2, 1. So the softbox here has definitely opened up the shadows a lot more. I'm gonna pull it back maybe just a little bit. So we're at power level of 7 on that A10. So luckily I fired up my remote control app this time. So let's see what it looks like one more stop down, because I still want it to be pretty shadowy. So let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. I like that. So let's see if we got the catch light. You can bring the You can bring that back up, Kate. Let me move this out of the way. Now this gigantoid box is on here. Sweet. And then let's zoom. Let's get this zoom back in. You might have to come back over here and refocus this camera. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if I messed it up. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about this photo now. So this is the shot. Once again, a little more rim light. So let's see from before. This was that shot that we did just a second ago. Actually, no, that was the accidental shot of Kate. So with a touch more on the power, so about a stop and a half up here, I have a little bit better separation. The cool thing is, once again, that placement, I was still able to keep that light off of her cheek. So the strip mask helped. The light placement also helped. It's one of those things that's nice about modeling lamps. So, but that's what the intention of pulling everything a little bit further away from the backdrop was, is to give me that space to roll the strip box back behind her a little bit more. And then just like you were saying, we were able to soften up the shadow a lot. We were able to feather out that shadow a lot with the softbox, still keeping some contrast, but opening up those shadows a little bit. You can see the difference in catch lights. So we have a much harder pointed light source catch light there versus something here where the softbox is clearly going to be a lot softer. It just is. So you can see that it starts to feather out a little bit more, but the nice thing is that catch light is there. It's just not as, because it's not as hard of a light source, it's got a little more feathering, so it's not as apparent as the harder light source. So it's one of those things where you can kind of just play around with both of them and see which one you prefer. The nice thing about not doing it with the softbox is it's one less piece of equipment that you have to use for the setup. So I like that there. So let me see if y'all have any other questions before we call this a day. This has been super fun. But it's a really, really simple thing. And once again, we'll do a quick recap before we sign off, just in case any of y'all are catching this a little bit later. So let's see. Can we shoot some cars? Will, I'd love to shoot some cars. We're actually in a garage space. I just have to get all the stuff that's behind you right now out of the way to get anything in here. So, but let's do it sometime. Or maybe we can even do it outside. Let's see, the shadow slash dress slash background mix on her right thigh is creating an odd strip of flesh. It is, I totally get it. Honestly, on the original shot, her leg wasn't down. They were both up, so that's kind of throwing in a little bit of something, but I wouldn't crop for that anyway. The shot for me is more here, just to kind of keep this triangular pattern. That's what I'm going for. So I shot a little bit wider so I could crop to what I wanted. So you can, if you're planning on using more of the shot, which I'm not, you could either change the body positioning, which would probably be the easiest to do. That way you can maintain the light that you like on the subject's face, or you can maybe change the light around or add a flag or something like that just to keep the light from hitting something that you don't want it to hit. So, but for me, it didn't matter that much, just because I was shooting for the crop essentially. I'm one of those bozos who I generally tend to tilt my camera when I'm shooting. So I've learned that I have to shoot a little bit wider so I can level out my photos again. So let's see. Let's see. What about using a dome diffuser? We just talked about that. Much more pleasing light. Yeah. So once again, it's a personal preference. So the hard light didn't bother me, just because I knew I could swing it around a little bit more, and that little bit of a shadow that I got from the nostril didn't really bother me all that much. I could open that up a little bit if I wanted to. But 100% you can use a soft modifier like this to get a really, really beautiful shot. We did that. I preferred the harder pinpoint light source in the eye is for my catch light, as opposed to something softer, mainly because the shadows on the subject here, I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about, mainly because the shadows are a harder shadow. And so the harder shadow lends itself to a harder catch light, just because they match. It doesn't feel so off, but honestly, this isn't that big of a deal. You know, at the point that I'm talking right now, I'm being nitpicky. I guess that's the cool thing about being an artist. You can nitpick whatever the heck you want to nitpick. It's your art. But that's the reason that I would probably tend to go towards the harder light. But once again, if you dig the look of the softer light with the Rembrandt light, use the softer light. Once again, the rules are made to be broken. So really, really fun. So once again, just as a quick recap. So when you're shooting Rembrandt light, you want to take the light, start with your constant lamp because that's going to give you the easiest way to tell the results. Start with the light in front of your subject, turn on the constant lamp. You want to raise it up a little bit so that you start to see the nose shadow drop down, maybe something towards the butterfly realm. And then as you start to fade the light off to the side, you're going to start to see it change into different light patterns. So you're going to go from, essentially from here, you're going to have butterfly light, and as you start to roll around right here, you're going to get to loop, and then as you start to kick the light over further, that nose shadow right here is going to meet the shadow that's, the cheek starts to form because the light can't wrap around it anymore, right? So once that nose shadow and that cheek shadow meet, you're going to get that triangle, especially with the eye. That's your Rembrandt style light. So start here, straight above the light up here. This got your butterfly. You start to roll it to loop, roll a little bit further, and boom, you're in the world of Rembrandt. Easy stuff. Then add in whatever else you might want to separate the subject from the background, to lower the contrast of the fill light, to be a goofball and add in a random A10 to give you a hard catch light. Do whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy. Do that. In the meantime, let me see if y'all have any other questions, and if not, I'm signing off. I'm gonna go eat a sandwich. Apparently someone's shooting fireworks, so midday fireworks in Atlanta. Let's do it. Hey everybody, cool. That's it, sweet. Hopefully that was super helpful. This was a lot of fun. If you want a more quick, concise breakdown of this, or if you want to share this with somebody, you can go to Profoto's Instagram account, and I just did an IGTV video over this, about 2 minutes long, and at the end of it, it has kind of a like a tips card, so you could hold your finger down on the video and take a screenshot, and then you have a Rembrandt tips lighting setup. So in the meantime, I hope you have an awesome week, great weekend. We'll see you next week. Peace out.